Hi everyone, this is Alchemized Gaming. Welcome to another Call of Duty Modern Warfare video for 2020. I hope you, your family, your friends and all of your colleagues are all safe and well during this COVID pandemic. In the UK it looks like we're kind of coming out of that a little bit, which is really great news. We'll obviously have to keep an eye on things and see what happens over the next few months as we work through that. But let's jump right into today's video, which is surviving Warzone as a team. Now, you may think I'm not the best qualified to drop this video on you, but I've been really focusing on Warzone over the last 5 to 6 weeks, and I feel I've got quite a good grasp of it. I've had wins throughout quads, duos, trios and realism modes. I've not had any solo wins yet, but then I've only played about one game of solos, so I've still got that to conquer. But this video is about surviving Warzone as a team, so it kind of makes sense, I think, now that I've formed the Ghostface Killers clan with all of my teammates who are playing in the clan. I'd like to give a big shout out to all of my colleagues. Thanks for the fantastic job you're doing and helping us build our community and stay in touch with each other via WhatsApp and have a good laugh when we're playing the games. It's really, really important for that kind of team bonding, and I know that I'm really enjoying it, and I hope everybody involved in the clan is too, and I hope you as the viewers, now that I'll start to upload more videos. Hopefully we'll get some game chat going. I'm going to have to buy a couple of cables to do that, but I'm planning on doing it. And we're all going to kind of grow this community together. I think our team is quite well gelled and well blended, so we're going to keep playing and keep improving. And I want to share some of the improvements that I've made as a player and that I've noticed within our team. As I say, I'm not an expert and I'm not trying to put myself out there to be an expert, guys, but I just want to share what I think I've known. If it helps you in any way with your Warzone games, then great. So let's jump in. There's 10 points to cover off, and the first point is have a plan. Okay, so that sounds really, really simple and really, really obvious. But have you ever found yourself running out of the gas at 100 miles an hour, not knowing where you're going or where you are on the map, and suddenly you get rinsed by a team who are waiting for you? You need a plan, and that plan needs to start from the moment that you exit the aircraft and work your way down to one of your first objectives, and it needs to continue through all of the cycles of the circle and the gas as everything starts to close in. You need to try and stay ahead of the game, and you need to try and have a plan at all times. I want to shout out to another YouTuber who I don't know personally, but I've really enjoyed watching his videos. I think he's a very, very talented player, and he's really helped me by watching his videos to grow my game a little bit, and his name is Iceman Isaac, and one of his number one plans is to pinwheel and stay moving on the circle. And pinwheeling, if you imagine it, is you start at the outside and almost like a spinning top as it starts to spin and moves into its very centre. You follow the circle round and you work in. And for us as a team, when we utilise that strategy and we get into that mindset, we certainly seem to have far more productive games. So having that plan constitutes landing outside the circle. That's what Iceman Isaac's saying. That's what I'm finding works well. It's not always possible. When it's not possible, I wouldn't recommend landing in the wrong area. And some of the right areas are probably farmland, quarry, promenade west, promenade east, the dam. Those are some of the outlying areas on the map. There's also the military base, but that's often a tricky area to go to, so I'm leaving that one off. But those are the areas you'd want to try and land in if they're far outside the circle. And I don't mean a great distance from the edge of the circle, I just mean that they're far from the line that you progress through when you're in the aircraft before you drop. So that's a great idea. Land outside the circle, and from there work your way in. Try and stay around about 15 seconds outside or inside of the gas. So give yourself time as you're pinwheeling in, as the circle's moving. Give yourself time to always be inside the circle, about 5 or 10 seconds in cover as the circle starts to close. Wait for teams to come in and kill them as they come out of the gas, because they are the teams that don't have a plan. Secondly to that, when you are in between circles, you really want to try and stay about 15 or 20 seconds outside of the circle. What our team often does as a tactic is we use the out of bounds. If the out of bounds are in play on any circle or any cycling round the circle, or pinwheeling or storm chasing or whatever you want to call it, we try and stay just outside of the circle until we're giving ourselves time to be in the circle when it closes, and that's where we move to, pick an area, close out whatever's going on in that area, and then we start pinwheeling again. And we tend to move in the same direction, either clockwise or anti-clockwise, and we always try to stay away from downtown. I'll probably talk a little bit about that, but that is tip number 1, guys. Have a plan. Tip number 2 is choose the correct drop zone, and I've spoken a little bit about that already, but I can't stress enough that I would 100% avoid downtown. And I see a lot of people going to downtown, and there's no doubting why people go to downtown. It's because it's a great fight. There's lots of gunfights. It's completely unpredictable. But if you're aiming to win and survive, and that's what this video is about, then I would always recommend avoiding downtown. And that means when you're pinwheeling around the circles as the game is progressing, that you take the route that avoids downtown, unless you're going through it at the very start or just on the outskirts throughout a game. If you have to go right through the middle of downtown, it's so unpredictable, it's probably game over. Don't land in the circle as your drop zone. Land outside the circle where it's possible. Also, as you're landing, when you've chosen your drop zone, hover above it with your parachute open, provided you're not being shot at, just to check for incoming enemies, tag them for your colleagues and teammates. Colleagues, I sound like I'm at work, for your teammates, and that will give you guys the best chance of surviving that initial drop, and then you can start to loot, and then you can form a plan quickly, and you can start to execute on the plan. I don't want to touch back on point 1 too much, but the plan obviously involves deciding what challenges you're going to take on and what challenges you're not going to take on, but we'll come on to a little bit of that in a moment. So choose the correct drop zone. That is tip number 2, guys. Tip number 3 is to choose an appropriate loadout. Now, you know when you're landing, when you're looking at your challenges, and when you're thinking ahead in the game, all you've got on your mind is get the loadout, get the loadout, get the loadout. Make sure you take the appropriate loadout, guys, and make sure you have set up your loadout before you go into the game, and make sure it's clearly marked, because in the heat of battle, under sniper fire, under teams pushing you, and you know you need to get your loadout, you want to be able to quickly go in, choose your loadout, and know what you're doing, and not have to cut through 10 different loadouts and find the one you want. So label them clearly. You can rename them in your settings. Also, what I do is I put my initial loadout as the very top loadout, and I put my ghost loadout, which I take second, as my second loadout. So when I open my custom loadouts, I know if it's the first loadout of the game, whether I've bought it or whether it's landed, I take the top one, and if it's the second loadout, I take the second from top loadout. I've got them pre-named, first loadout and ghost loadout, and those are the ones I go with. And if the game changes, then I've got some alternative setups for loadouts in there. I've got one that is a fully loaded assault rifle with a pistol, and then if I have to pick that up and it's close to the end, I've got ammo and I'm not panicking looking for ammo and it's distracting me from the game plan. So choose the appropriate loadout. Think about your team needs. You need a good sniper, you need support, you need a flanker and a thinker. You need players in there that are working as a team. So you need that loadout that's going to work for everybody. You're going to maybe need to lay down some light machine gun fire, you're going to need an accurate sniper, but everybody doesn't have to have the same thing. But I don't think, in all honesty, from the games we've played, that thinking about your teammates should be your massive focus when it comes to loadouts. Just focus on getting your own loadout, choosing the right loadout and having it set up before you drop into the game. Think about your own key skills. Are you taking a sniper because you want to be a sniper or because you're a good sniper? Think about it that way, and that's going to help everybody out. And again, be flexible with your loadouts. If you land in the final circle and you're going to pull a non-ghost sniper rifle and a pistol out of your loadouts, how far do you think you're going to get when everybody's going to have a heartbeat sensor and everything at the end? Pull the right loadout, guys. Have one set up, fully loaded, assault rifle, a bit of a laser, have ghost on, have cold-blooded on, have tune up on so that you can revive your teammates 25% quicker. Think about it, get those loadouts sorted, and that's really going to help you. So that's tip 3, choose the appropriate loadout. Let's move on to tip 4, which is take the correct challenges. So there's multiple challenges in the game. There's most wanted, scavenger, recon, and bounty. And you need to think about the right time to take those challenges. Recons and scavengers are fantastic at the start of the game, but thinking about scavenger, that can impact your drop zone, because a lot of teams go straight for the scavenger, and if they go straight for the scavenger, your team either avoids the drop zone, lands in the drop zone and gets killed, or it ends up dispersed too far apart in the drop zone to be effective. So think about what you're doing when you first land. Recons in faraway places are actually a really good start to a game. You can land there, you can loot, you can get the recon. When you've all got your weapons, you can put the flag up and you can aim to get that closed out. That's a really good one to take. When you're the only one left, take the most wanted and get yourself to the out of bounds and outskirts of the map and bring your team back, because that's what the most wanted does. If you're really an effective team, then pull scavengers, have those pistol fights at the beginning, go on the scavenger, land there, work that, or take the bounty, and then you know where your opponent is. But just be ready for them to push back on you, and if they're an inexperienced 4-man squad and you pull a bounty and you've got pistols or fouls, you're going to get rinsed. So take the appropriate challenges, guys, at the right time. When it's desperate, you might want to pull a most wanted and try and save your team. When you land and you're alone, or you land later in the game and there are still scavengers and you know that the area is unlooted, take it on. Get recons at the start. Only take the bounties if you're fully armed and you can work those areas and close down the bounty, because if they launch a counter ambush on you, it's probably game over. So that's number 4, take the correct challenges, and it leads us really clearly into tip 5, which is stick together. And sticking together isn't about landing in the same building, it's about communicating, it's about understanding how far apart you are in terms of your distance and the direction that you're moving in. It's about having a plan, communicating that plan, focusing on what you're doing. So think about it, guys, you want to be communicating over the mics. If you're landing in games with randoms and you don't have mics, or they don't have mics, you are not going to get as far as you want to get, and this video is about surviving. So make sure, if you can't get into games with people, find some friends, set up a WhatsApp chat, get the guys in there. I've done it with the Ghostface Killers clan that we have started, and it is some of the best people that I've ever met in my life. And I really do want to shout out to Ayrshire, to Stevo, to Zesty, who really got me into this, to Sherlock, who is a phenomenal player along with everybody else, but he's really helped me develop my own game plan by watching him. He's a great player. So is Blaze. Blaze will take anybody on. Flatty, Burton, Justin. We've got such a good squad of solid players, and everybody is feeding into what we're doing, whether that's just having a laugh, whether it's securing challenges, whether it's working together as a team. We are just growing and developing and doing so well, and it's such a proud time for me at the moment, because I'd been playing a lot of games where I just wasn't getting the right teammates and we weren't communicating, and what a difference it makes to stick together as a team, to communicate with each other, to cut out the chit chat when you're right in the middle of a drop zone and you're trying to hear footsteps and other things. Think about your teammates. Don't enter a gunfight without calling it out to your teammates. Don't just start firing because you see someone. Just give a shout out, yo, there's someone there. Think about distance and direction as well and calling it out. 200 metres northwest on the orange marker, things like that. Really let your team know where the opposition are. And sometimes someone has to encourage the team to talk and to get chatting. And if you have to do that, then be the one that does it, because everybody in the team will appreciate it, although they might think you're a bit of a whatever when you're doing it. They'll appreciate it when you get the win, and it's really important to do that. So we're on to the next tip, guys, which is survive the Gulag. Everybody knows at some point you're going to land in the Gulag, although me and Ayrshire, I have to say, we have managed to win a game taking 0 damage in duos and not being in the Gulag. So 0 damage, not in the Gulag, won the game. That was a pretty flawless game. You've got to survive the Gulag, and what do you need to do to survive the Gulag? You need to have a plan, and you need to use your lethals. My plan, as you'll see when it comes up on the video, is to always take a peek to the left when I've got the long clear sight line down the left. If I can see, I just hover there until my lethals are ready, and then I put my lethals in the other corner. And if I hear footsteps, then I'm going to turn and aggressively go towards the guy when I hear the footsteps. But that's my plan. See if it works for you. Move left, see if you can look straight down all the way to the other end. If you can't, move to the middle. If you can, stay until your lethals are ready and put them in the other corner. And then work your way through and take the guy on, because he's probably not approaching you. So don't get distracted in the Gulag. And here's a shout out to all of your teammates, not my teammates, but teammates that you may play with. Don't call out the Gulag unless you are really good at telling your colleague, teammate, where the opposition is, because sometimes it gets so confusing. People calling things out that it ends up getting the teammate shot. That's never fun. I've done it by accident and I felt really bad after it, and I've had it done to me. It doesn't matter, it's not a big deal, but it can put your teammate off. So if you're going to call it out where the opposition is in the Gulag, make sure you're giving clear descriptions and making it clear for your teammates.